Hey there. Hey, Gail, how are you?
Hi, everybody. Hi, Anne. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh my goodness, are you kidding? It's always a good day when I can spend time with you. So
Oh, it's so
we,
fun.
yeah, we always have such a great time. Hey, Dream Journey One, good to see you.
Hey,
Yeah, this is kind of a random chat. It's something that we were supposed to kind of plan for next week. However, I am sitting here on pins and needles waiting for Fiona to grace our door. So we're I reached out to Dr. Gail today and asked if she'd be willing to jump on the call with me, and she's always obliging. So thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, I'm going to do it if I can with you. I'm trying to pull it up on my other phone so I can at least see people who are coming in and talking.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
awesome. And all kinds of people jumping on the call. That's so good. Hey, Ambery. Oh, thanks. Thanks. I just discovered that, the purple vibe. Isn't that cool? Yeah. Nancy Jean's here. Hey, good to
Hey,
see
Nancy
you.
Jean, how are you doing?
Good
Oh,
to see
mine's
you.
got a really delay on this, looks like.
Is there?
Wow.
Yeah. Um, Nancy Jean, you got to check out Nancy Jean. She's Nancy Jean's Garden on YouTube. And I was very happy to be a guest on her show last week. So we had all kinds of really cool people jumping on. And I'm meeting all these really neat people recently. I don't know what's going on, Dr. Gail, but it's like the whole vibration of the planet seems to be raising in Nova Scotia anyways, not just the tide surge.
Yeah, well, everybody's vibration is increasing and everybody's having such ascension symptoms that I'm dealing with that a whole lot now.
I'll
And
bet.
personally, and for people who are dealing with it also.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what's going on. We're all raising our vibration to go to the next level, which is exciting.
It
Yeah.
really is. Yeah, it really is. And I was just saying to you earlier before we got on the call here that I can't believe the people who are coming to me who they're feeling really confused and whatnot, but I'm able to look at them and go, I get it. Like, you're not from here, are you? Right? It's really cool. It's a really interesting thing. But and you're absolutely right, Nancy Jean. Energies are shifting so that we can grow profoundly. Absolutely. And it's so great to be surrounded by so many amazing people. I feel like since Dr. Gail and I met, Spirit kind of guided you to me last May. And that was as a result that Nancy Jean from Nancy Jean's Garden suggested that you connect with me. And then
Right.
we've connected with her. And then we've also connected with Allison May, who does the light language. And I'm in a 7 personal year. You all have to kind of slow down. Like, I'm not sure I'm ready for all this.
Well, it's at the end of that year, though. I mean, we're heading to the end of it. So,
Oh, I know. Yeah, but then we're heading into a 7 universal year in 2023.
oh, yes.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that's going to be, y'all. It's going to be
That's
a lot
going to
of
be powerful.
fun. I
Yeah.
personally can't wait. But anyway, it's all good. So the reason we're gathering today, guys, is because Dr. Gail is going to be my guest again in the Clarity Seekers community on Tuesday, October 4th at 3 o'clock Eastern time. So we're going to be talking about alien encounters and how do we know we're actually having alien encounters? Have I said that right? Do you prefer me to say ET encounters or alien encounters?
Well, for me, they don't care if you call them aliens, ETs, or galactic beings, or whatever you call them.
Okay.
But it's more of a human thing,
Mhm.
what you're comfortable with. So
Okay.
for me, other people get offended. I don't, because I've talked to them about it. They would prefer to be called whatever their race is. Like, we're human. They would like to be called, their grays or whatever their species is. That's what they would prefer, or hybrids. But the other names, they really don't care. We can call them anything. And I've had an hour lecture about this from somebody about what we're supposed to call them, and I'm sitting going, I talked to them.
Well,
I've
well,
already talked to
let's
them.
just say that I have no interest in offending the aliens. Like, no, I'm good. Right?
You're not going to offend them. You're not going to offend them at all.
But we had so much fun there a couple of months ago, and we just did a talk in the group called "Let's Talk About Aliens," right? And it was really well attended. I think we had I don't know how many people were there, but it's quite a few. So it's kind of opening things up. The community used to be specialized with just Master Number 11s. It used to be called the Master Number 11 membership, but now it's called the Clarity Seekers community. You can check it out here. But anyway, we just wanted to give you kind of a taste of what our discussion is going to be all about on Tuesday, October the 4th. So if you want to learn more beyond what we're going to be talking about today, that's what you're going to do. Check out Clarity Seekers Community. It's on my website, AnnPerryNumerologist.com, right up at the top. Anyways, so Gail, Dr. Gail, let's see. Let's put your website up here. There we go. So how do we know when we are experiencing alien encounters? Like, what are some signs that we can be looking for?
Well, the signs are that their vibration's a little higher than the most. Well, I would say if you're having encounters, the easiest encounters, and usually this is how it starts, is you usually encounter somebody who's passed. And it usually, for me, it started by smelling. I would smell somebody, and then it kind of warms you up and you're getting used to that level. Then the next, it might be angels first, it might be your past ones first, and they have a different vibrational frequency that you kind of feel. And then the next level might be ETs, at the next level, and that they'll come in. And it's almost like they do a stair step for you to get used to that vibration. And it's depending on what your your clairs are, what your best ones are. If you see them, feel them, and you can always ask them what kind of entity they are, and they'll tell you. But most people can see them, and they know that they're different. But usually they are at a different vibration, and it is a more difficult vibration, I think, to connect to. So that's how you can tell. You can actually ask them, or it just feels different.
So I've had a couple of experiences that maybe our audience can relate to. Several years ago, I woke up to seeing two, what I would say, androgynous beings on my bed. Okay, so I had one who was sort of sitting at the end of the bed, but his back was kind of to me and he was sort of looking over his shoulder. And the other one was sitting right beside me on the bed, looking at me, had sort of a white cloth or something, I think, over the head kind of thing, and tied in behind, and sitting there with hands doing this. So it kind of scared me because it felt like they were praying over me. And I don't mean praying, it was like, that felt uncomfortable to me. But to me, it felt like it was some form of an alien being. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I mean, it does sound like one. It sounds like they were alien beings. And I'm sure they felt different to you. The vibration probably was different. And I would say that's probably the best way, is the feeling. But to tell if it's a good or bad or whatever, you're supposed to really get your eyes out of it and feel it from your heart and see how it actually feels. I mean, I know it's hard when you're like, oh my gosh,
it was not long enough to go, how does this feel? I was doing too big of a holy shit moment, right?
Exactly. So that's the best way to do it, is try to bring your mind down and just kind of feel it from the heart, and just and listen to that, and then that connection will be there, and you can tell more information or get more information like that. So it's a hard thing to do, to come out of your head to your heart on something like that.
Oh, that's a daily thing for me. That's a daily challenge. But the other thing that happened shortly after that was I can't explain whether it was a dream or whether I was sort of half awake, half asleep, what was going on. But I was going up into, the only way I can describe it was the fastest vortex centrifugal force movement I've ever felt in my life. Like, it was just like my whole chest was caving in and I was going zzz, and this huge vibration taking me up. And then boom, I came back down, right? And whoever was with me through this process said, do you want to try that again?
I would say, yes.
And I said, I kind of paused for a second. I think so, right? Off I went again, right? And boom, came crashing down again. It only happened in that one session. It's only happened in one session, but I went up and down twice. And an astrologer friend of mine said to me, she felt that what was happening was something was coming in to try and steal my soul. Like, was actually trying to, remove my soul from me, kind of thing. Basically killing me, taking my soul and saying, come on, you're coming with us, kind of thing. I didn't feel that. I felt it was more playful.
Yes, I think what they were, I think that's exactly what I get.
Yeah.
Extremely playful. And they were like just taking you to a different world. They're just having fun with you. And I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So I'm just trying to set the stage a little bit here for everybody so we can kind of open the conversation up. So those were what I would call sort of alien, that felt to me like alien encounters. And you talk about, when you've kind of gone to that level, because now you can you'll start seeing them, right? So now I'm not seeing aliens in the sense that, you see images of aliens and stuff around, artwork of aliens and that. I'm not seeing them in that way, but I am recognizing people who I believe are aliens now.
Right.
I'm tapping into that level. So does that make sense?
It does make sense. It means, you're reaching out to that vibration. Your vibration is leaked, and now you can spot them because you're on that level now, so you can connect with them.
It's so weird. It's almost like a secret club kind of thing. It's like you could be in a social situation and you're walking over going, hey, I know you're one of them.
Well, I feel like that my YouTube channel, I kind of feel like that's the group that's there.
Yes.
We've all connected, and we've all been able to connect like that because of those special. Now, because my YouTube channel is not for everybody, some people are just going to look at it and go, "Ooh, that girl's crazy," and just move on. And then somebody's can come in and immediately connect.
Yeah.
And that's where they belong. So I do think you're exactly right.
Well, and I remember when you and I first met, and you were just sort of kind of coming out,
Yes.
And so you were slightly nervous about sharing with me what you did. And yet I wasn't fazed by it at all. And to me,
I was shocked
that I wasn't fazed by it.
Yeah, I was shocked that you weren't fazed by it, because you tiptoe to people to tell them what I do, going, oh, how's this person going to react all the time?
Right. But you just came out of a professional medical community. Now you're walking into this. Of course you're going to tiptoe in, right?
Yes.
But what I've learned through knowing you and meeting a few other clients and whatnot, is that those who can share it, who hesitate to share it are the real deal. The ones who are out there, shooting their mouths off, and I'm this and I'm that, and I'm all over the place, that showboating it and making it a big thing. Those are the ones I feel might be a little bit emotionally unstable, potentially. That maybe are coming from, I don't know, mental delusion or whatever. I'm not painting this with a broad brush, by the way.
Right.
The ones that I've met, who are kind of showy and whatnot, those are the ones I kind of question, is that really real? But the ones that I meet, like yourself, who are a little cautious about sharing their stuff, kind of thing, to me, that's a dead sign that I'm dealing with the real deal.
Well, good, because that's a sign I'll use now in the future too for other people. Because I'm in Mount Shasta now, and there are a lot of showboats here.
Yeah, I'll bet. Yeah. So, okay. So so we're establishing here that there's different ways in which we can feel them, different ways in which we can see them. Is there any point to inviting this kind of energy, or is that something that just kind of organically happens?
No, you can invite it if you're willing, if you're open your heart to it, because they're going to eventually show themselves, and we're all probably in this community is already going to be working with them, knowing them before it's ever exposed to, or before the world accepts it. And if you want to be involved in that part of it, which a lot of us do, yes, connect with them, and you can get so much from them. And I think it makes you more of a open to everybody, even humans and everything, is to be connecting with them. And there's so much they can help you with, because so many of them are your guides that you will benefit from connecting with them, because they'll be with you wherever you go, just like a guide. I mean, they're very loving. So
I remember when I used to teach Reiki, and when I went through my Reiki training and became a Reiki master, I was given this little script that I would use. It was given to me from my Reiki master, and it was a little script that I would use to invite all the archangels, ascended masters, and saints. And then it would say, and the Galactic Federation. And I was kind of like, like, do I really want to go there? I don't even know what that is, right? And so I actually chose not to say that
Oh,
term.
really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I did because I didn't understand it. Now
Yeah.
I do. Well, I'm getting it. I'm getting better at it, right? But yeah, so it was kind of weird.
Well, you do understand the Galactic Federation, who they are now, don't you? They're the ones that are watching over Earth and making sure they're like the almost like police
An
department.
army,
They are the hierarchy watching over everything, all the different universes and everything. But they're here on this universe looking over everything here. And there's a
right?
council that's there that, we discuss. In fact, I sit on the council. In fact, last night, we were having a big discussion on an issue here on Earth. So, yeah, that's what the Galactic Council is. And there is some moral things that have to be talked about on
Mm-hmm.
there that I'm really getting involved in a lot of that here recently.
Interesting.
A new area for me. Because
Yeah,
I'm human, and I'm on Earth, so they bring it to me. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And so, would it be fair to say that if someone was interested in learning more about um, working with aliens, I mean, most of the people that you and I attract seem to be healers of a kind, right?
Right.
We're kind of all involved in some form of energy medicine, that kind of thing, energy
Mhm.
healing. Would it be fair to put it out there to ask the aliens, the Galactic Federation, I don't know how you'd phrase that, to help you to be of service?
Oh, I do all the time.
So how do you address that? Like, how is it the Galactic Federation that you address, or
Well, that would be good
oh,
to.
aliens? Hey, what's up?
Yeah, you can address the Galactic Federation, but you probably have your own personal ETs that are around you. As I said, most people that are interested in what we're doing in this community usually have an ET guide or
Mhm.
two or three.
Yeah.
So, in fact, when I first started meeting all mine, my dad and my dad showed up first, which is past, and then an angel showed up, and then I started meeting ETs. At that time, I didn't even know what they were. I didn't know the different species and all, but they are my helpers and my guides. So most of us do have one or two around us all the time, and they come in as a guide.
And so your dad passed away in 2020, if I remember correctly.
19. Mhm.
2019. Okay. It was 2020 when you really came into this work.
Right, exactly. When I was done, I was like, I'm finished taking care of people. I was a nurse and a chiropractor. Then I took my care of my dad with dementia, and it
Yeah.
was the first time I wasn't taking care of anybody. And I was like, oh no, no, we got a new job for you.
Yeah. Careful what you sign up for. So, okay. That being said, do you feel that your dad had to pass on to bring you to this level to be able to do this kind of work? Do you feel that that was kind of a step related to that?
Definitely, because everything I do with them, my whole life has led up to it. Like I used my nursing and I used my chiropractic, and then I learned energy work. And yes, my dad was definitely, and he's also the one that made me comfortable meeting them. Like he
Mhm.
brought in the angels, and he brought in the first ET, or maybe even up to the first five. That actually I would go and sit on a bench, and he'd bring one to me to meet. So that made me comfortable meeting them.
Yeah.
He was there, and because I wasn't in the metaphysical world at all, this was all new to me.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, so he made it comfortable, and he would have had to pass to make me comfortable meeting them.
And you know what I think is so beautiful about you, Dr. Gail, is that this is new to you, and yet you're open to it. And I think there's a lot of us who I fear kind of tapping into all this because there's so many people who know so much more than what we do, kind of thing, right?
Well, I'm there. I feel like that all the time when
Of
people
course.
talk to me. They think I know all because I deal with the ETs, know what I know. They think I
Yeah,
know about everything. I'm like,
right.
I'm a baby at all this other stuff. I'm a
Exactly.
baby at, yeah, exactly.
There's hope for all of us.
I tell you, if Nancy Jean's still in the chat, I've run to her a lot. I used to run to Meg a lot. I mean, I've had friends that have helped me all along with my journey.
Yeah.
And, and I do have my special area that I know a lot about, but I am not one of the people who've experienced all these different areas. And
Well, go ahead.
sometimes what they wanted was they
Mhm.
didn't want some preconceived notions that I might have had before going in and doing the work that In fact, I couldn't even read books in the beginning. I would get a book on like astrology and numerology, and the book would
Mhm.
be blank. I mean, my eyes wouldn't focus. They had it blurred out for me. They wanted my information directly from them.
I
So,
remember you saying that, and to me, that absolutely makes sense to me because I am what I call a sleepy reader. It doesn't matter how hard I try to sit and read something. If I'm not meant to take in that information, it's like you're going to sleep, right? They just knock me out.
exactly. And I do
Yeah.
think that's exactly what happens, because there's a lot of books out there and a lot of information in those books, but they want you to discover your own journey.
Yeah, is exactly. And one of the reasons I asked you about, your dad and how he passed on when he did, and all this kind of came to be after the fact, and then he's somewhat of an ambassador for you, if you
Yes.
will. I think about sort of the same kind of deal. My mom passed away in 2016, and she and I always had a bit of a challenging relationship. I figured it out now, but at the time it was really quite miserable at times. And we had our very good moments too. Don't get me wrong, but there was some definite challenges. And one of the challenges I recognized was that um, she was always pushing me to be original, to be authentic, to be unique, to be a little out there. She was always, but I wasn't ready, right? I was always trying to be like everybody else. I wasn't comfortable in my own skin. And it wasn't until I became comfortable in my own skin that things started to soften between us. But further to that, my mother was what I call a connector, right? She was an artist, and she would bring home people from art shows and whatnot that were kind of the misfits, the ones that really
Mhm.
didn't have a community. They really didn't fit in anywhere. They're very eccentric, very odd, very different. My mother always made room for them, would always bring them home, she called them my adopted brothers and sisters. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with the ones I got? Like, why do you have to bring in these weirdos, And yet now, I've never been happier since I created this Clarity Seekers community. I have never felt such satisfaction as being able to bring in really unusual speakers like yourself and just opening the doors, the topics wide. Nancy Jean is going to be a guest speaker in January. It's just exciting. Allison May, who does the light language and whatnot, all these different things. And I know my mother's up there going, yes, 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 right?
Well,
And
my relationship with my dad was very good. I mean, I didn't have that kind of confrontation. Thank goodness, because I took care of him for so long that we really got along,
yeah,
even before. So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
go through all that.
Well, but it was meant to be, though. It made me work harder, and it made me discover more satisfaction. But I feel like she had to pass before I could carry the torch for her. And
Right.
this whole community, this Clarity Seekers community, is really a testimonial to her. It's in memory of her, really, because she was never afraid to show her authentic, original side. And this is what I want for everybody in the group, is to be able to feel like they can be who they are. They can talk about anything in this community, and it's going to be well received. Nobody's going to look at you and go WTF. We're all going to say, wow, that's kind of cool. Let's
Yeah.
talk about that.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
I
was
feel
going to say, my next step on my journey is, well, of course, it seems like it's dealing with death. Was when my dog Moon passed away.
yeah.
So she's become significant to me as in my partner on doing,
Mhm.
on the other side when I'm going on my missions and things like that. She's by my side. So she had to take me when she passed away. I mean, I don't want anybody else to pass away.
Yeah.
She took me to the next level. Well,
Yeah.
I'm comfortable doing the things I'm doing on the other side because she became a secondhand person. So
Mhm.
I'm sitting there
Mhm.
going, now I'm thinking, going, oh my gosh, everybody who passes away, the next step. Oh, all my animals, y'all okay?
Yeah.
So now I'm going to worry about that.
Um, I'm just reading a message here from Barbara Jean. She says, I woke from what I thought was a dream. Oh, we've lost Dr. Gail's video feed. There she is. You're back. Um, I awoke from what I thought was a dream. I was in an all-white, sterile place that was ultra-modern. There were pods, and I watched a man being brought in close by and being worked on. They were working on me, fixing stuff, upgrading. It was really bizarre.
I'm so sorry. I had to go on my phone because my computer wasn't working, and I've had a phone come, and so I didn't hear any of that. I'm so sorry.
Okay, no worries. No worries. Thank you, Mercury. Barbara Jean says, I awoke from what I thought was a dream. I was in an all-white sterile place that was ultra modern. There were pods, and I watched a man being brought in close by and being worked on. They were working on me too, fixing stuff, upgrading. It was really bizarre.
So what's the question?
What's your thoughts on that?
Okay. Well, Barbara Jean, that seems like to be a pretty common thing that I hear, that they bring people up there, and you went to a spaceship, and it tends to be, I think, the Palladians that do a lot of that, where they bring you up there and do an upgrade and then send you back down, because you're probably super important, that you're going to be, you're on this ascension process, and that's exactly what they were doing, was upgrading you. So I would be anxious to hear what you're doing now, Barbara Jean, because apparently they have big plans for you.
Mm-hmm. Barbara Jean, if you feel comfortable putting your date of birth in there, I'd be kind of curious to take a look at what's going on in that. But that's just only if you're comfortable. Nancy Jean says, I can help with learning a new psychic skin, but often I'm not familiar with the information. Yeah, I get that. I really do get that. I understand that. I've taught things for a long time that I honestly felt I knew nothing about. And all of a sudden, there it is, right?
Exactly. Well, also, Barbara Jean, when I was, let's say, I think I was maybe 2 or 3 when they started sending me up in a spaceship to learn different things and learn different abilities. And I have a little bit of memories about that when they were training me. And of course, it was to prepare me for what I'm doing now. But I do have some memories of that also. So they're probably training you and upgrading you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Neat. You know, what about a facelift, a little tummy tuck?
Oh, I know. Well, you know what? Yeah. Why don't they do that on Earth?
But
You know, in fact, I have said that when I've been up in the spaceship, going, why don't you let me make my 3D body better functioning? You know, why do you let me get older? And they just look at me like, I don't understand what you're saying. I don't understand what you mean.
I'm just looking at Barbara Jean's date of birth here for a second. 7, 3, 1, 9, 10, 16, 18, 9. Yeah. So you are a 19-1. So the older soul. But you are meant to support people in a different way, because you've probably done a little research on this 19-1 life path number, which says in a previous lifetime you were a bit of a hard ass leader, as I call them. You weren't leading by gentle persuasion, you were leading more by brute force. So this time around, you're intended to take the focus away from yourself and place it on somebody else, raise them up the ladder, right? Take them and push them up the ladder. So it's about helping people to help themselves. So it doesn't surprise me to hear that you've been sort of elevated energetically to be able to accommodate that. And remember that, you know, the karmic debt, the appearance of a karmic debt doesn't say that you're being punished, although sometimes it feels that way. It isn't about punishment. It's really more related to your choice to clean up your mess, right, that you created in the previous lifetime. She's going on to say, oh, wait, no, I just want to look at one other thing here. So we got 7.
What I was getting for her was that she's also going to be a leader here. So that's really.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Yeah, 100%. But the interesting thing, too, is that you are in the same personal year that I am. It's a 7 personal year, but if we want to take this one step further, Barbara Jean, you're actually in a 16-7 personal year, which is somewhat of the rise and the fall of the ego. And it's really asking us to tune in and tap into something bigger than ourselves. So whatever the divine means to you, you need to work a little harder at that. But it's also, it's like layers of you are just kind of falling off, peeling off, getting you ready for the next step. I'm in it too. I get it. I mean, I'm in the 16-7 personal year as well. I think next year is going to be a real big year for both you and I, but all of us, but you and I particularly, going into the 8 personal year during a 7 universal year. So the umbrella over the planet is going to be the 7 influence, which is all about spiritual development. Who am I? Who is God? Is there a God? Do I pray to angels? Do I look at aliens? Do I, take a new course? What, and she is saying in response, yes, I felt like it had happened to me before, but I only remember this time because I woke up during it. She said, I've had downloads in the past as well, movies that play out in my mind. Interesting.
And then there's going to be more and more.
Yeah. And Lauren has said, I have dreams that feel too real all the time. No aliens, but they truly are insane every time. I am in an 11-2. My life shifts big once again, always. Going into a personal year 4, I'm not looking forward to it with a 7 universal year. Oh, I think it's great. I love it. I love the personal year 4. Personal year 4 is fantastic. It really helps you to be very, very careful with your focus, because anything you give your attention to is going to become closer, right? So I love that. And the 7 is asking, what do I really want? Get focused on what you really want. That's a really great year to create a plan. Susan Coffin asks, just joining, how do we know what our personal year is? Susan, you're going to take your month of birth, reduce that to a single digit or a master number. You're going to take your day of birth, reduce that to a single digit or a master number. So the master number in the case of the day of birth could be 11 or 22. Then reduce then take the universal year of 2022. That's a 6. So add your reduced month to your reduced day to the number 6, and that will tell you what your personal year is. Check in, go over to Nancy Jean's Garden on YouTube. I just did a whole talk in there about it. I think you'll find it really interesting. We talked about the shoulder seasons and whatnot. So
that was a good show, because that shoulder.
Yeah.
Because October 1st, things are changing for me. I'm supposed to be changing and to go in a different direction. And I'm like, oh, that would make sense.
Yeah.
When I saw that show. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. So yeah, that's exactly it. So when we come into October, we're not only are we starting to feel the energy of the universal year coming up next year, which is a 7. So that's causing us to think about spirituality and such, but we're also coming into the feeling of our next personal year. So Susan has confirmed that she personally right now is in a 3 personal year, which is a little scattered and all over the place, but she's going to be moving into the more settled, more grounded energy of the 4, feeling a little bit more restricted, but it's done intentionally to cause you to focus on what it is you want to create. So that's all good. Okay, so Thomas says, I once met an Arcturian guide, and now I'm starting to think that she is or was me. How to know for sure?
That could very, 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 very be true. Because I have seen myself as an Arcturian also, and that and that's the only other ET that I see myself in. I usually see myself human or an Arcturian, and it is going in and doing different kind of work. I've seen myself going in as a healer, teaching other people, and I've also seen myself as an Arcturian warrior. So yes, that's probably you.
So you and I did a talk. I think it was on. I get confused. I do a lot of podcasts. So I think it was on your channel. We did the talk about life path numbers and what. Whether Palladians have a tendency to be the 11s, Arcturians tend to be the 7s, and something else I can't remember now. Yeah. But we did a whole talk on it. So if, for example, you wanted to further develop your skills as a healer, for example, would it be fair to call upon Palladian guides?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Be specific with the guides that you call on, because those guides have a specific.
It could be Arcturian too, because they're good healers also.
Right.
Yeah.
But you can actually call upon them based on their skill set and what you want help with.
I think I would go with I need a guide to help me with healing, or who's my healer guide, and that they would show up. And it might be a Palladian Arcturian, or it might be something different, or it might be a hybrid. I wouldn't know which one that would be, but just call in for a healer guide.
Just send up the sticky memo.
That's right.
I don't know who to call upon, so I just send it up to Archangel Michael. Buddy, handle it for me, would you? Can you just kind of get the memo in the right direction? It always works. It's all good. Okay, Leandra says, I've had reason to believe that I met an extraterrestrial mantis being. How real are they, and do they exist?
Well, very much so. In fact, they're one of the most intelligent one is the mantis beings. And I have met several of those. In fact, my first one I described, I didn't know what they were called at that time. And I went to my friend Meg and I said, I met a grasshopper, a big grasshopper.
So love it.
She said, that's a praying mantis. So, yes, I really like them. They are great and they're very intelligent and very kind. So, yes, praying mantis exist. So, and I've met several of them. In fact, another praying mantis came to me to tell me what I was going to be doing in the future, riding in my car home with me after I went hiking.
Mhm.
And I was sitting there going, really? You know, it's going to take me a couple of years to be trained to do that. Well, it was the next week. So.
You're just an overachiever.
Exactly.
Leandra says that she felt very unconditional love when she met them.
Yes. Yes. And they're probably the hardest ones. Well, I didn't find it hard to look at them. I found the reptilians were the hardest one to look head on, you know, to get past what they look like to actually get into them.
Mhm.
Praying mantis, I didn't have as much difficulty, but a lot of people do get past what they look like.
So the questions just keep coming. So how do you know the difference between a walk-in and an alien? Because I had an experience several years ago where I was quite sure I was dealing with a walk-in, but now I'm questioning whether this person was an alien in human form.
I don't know that we would know, but they know.
Yeah.
So
I just knew when I met this person, I was on a ferry boat in Dartmouth and I was going across the water and I sat down with this guy and he was a tourist. He said he was a tourist from Boston and we struck up a conversation. There was just something about this man that made me hang on to his every word. And I think the only purpose for me, was to be on alert that day.
mm-hmm.
And I went to see the buskers, you know, the street performers. And through a presentation with one of those street performers, I had an absolutely phenomenal experience with an angel where I actually audibly heard the angel talking to me in the middle of a bit of chaos that was going on. So I always wondered about that fella because he kind of disappeared. He just walked off the boat and disappeared. I never saw him again. It's like he never was there. And I wondered if anybody else had ever even seen him.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
You never know.
Yeah.
It's kind of encounters, but I don't know the difference of the walk-in and an ET, but I don't know that we could tell it because they should feel the same.
Mm-hmm.
ET versus ET, but they know. You know, if I'll tell you.
Yeah, it was just a very, very strong connection with this person. He never said anything overly profound, you know, nice weather, nice city, blah, blah, you know, whatever. There's nothing profound, but it was just like the experience of meeting him was very profound. It caused me to be very much on alert kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad it was because I had, like I said, it was the most amazing experience ever. Very cool. All right. I just want to see here. Okay. So I want to bring up while we're flipping things around here. We're going to be furthering this conversation on Tuesday, October the 4th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. So the only way that you can attend this event is to join the Clarity Seekers community. So the Clarity Seekers community, you can find us right there. $22 a month. You get 4 live numerology classes by me per month, and you get at least 1, sometimes 2 live events that you can attend. And these things are done over Zoom, guys. So this isn't going to be typing the questions and us typing back to you or talking to you through the chat or what. No, this is actually, we actually meet in the group, right? So you'll be able to talk to Dr. Gail. You'll be able to ask her whatever questions you have. You'll be able to talk to myself. It's a really, really cool experience. There's already 45 master classes in the community that you can tap into to further your development. And I said, there's no obligation. If you join for a month and you say, hey, it's not a good fit for me, cancel. It's no big deal. But there's a ton of information in there and everybody's kind of getting to know each other. We just opened it up on the 15th of July and people are settling in, getting to know each other. And we're just having a blast. Like there's a chat room in there that you can talk to each other in, and it's really, really neat. So
yeah, and it's a lot easier bringing people on Zoom and actually being able to sit talk and ask the questions back and forth.
Yeah.
When you're it is a benefit. We're actually face to face talking. We're not face to face, Zoom to Zoom talking.
Zoom to Zoom, yeah. And you don't have to have your camera on if that's not your thing and you're not comfortable with that. Turn your camera off. We'll just do an audio chat. It's whatever floats your boat. We're totally okay with it either way. So, but anyway, I just want to make sure that you knew that that's how you get into this. And so that is going to be, again, this is going to be on Tuesday, October 4th at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Everything's recorded, by the way. So even if you had questions ahead of time and you know you can't make the live, no worries. Just if you're part of the group, you're just going to post a question in the group and we'll get it answered for you during the time that we're together. Dr. Gail can be reached at drgailstarseedhealer.com. But you may want to check her out on her YouTube channel. She's got a fantastic YouTube channel, all kinds of really interesting guests. She's always got something to say, something to talk about. So there's a good opportunity there as well. Anybody have any other questions for Dr. Gail or myself? Anything that you need addressed or talked about or any of that good stuff? I'm going to just kind of put it out there, you know, as we're on the topic of Hurricane Fiona.
Ooh, yeah.
I feel, because some people have been messaging me saying, what do you think? Like, what's your feelings on this? And I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit concerned about this one, partly because it's supposed to have a direct hit on me tonight at 1 o'clock in the morning in the dark. And we live right on the ocean, so that's kind of fun. But we are in 2022, right? So I don't care where you are on the planet. This is 2022. This is a 6 vibration for the universe. This is a focus on our home, our family, our communities, a sense of responsibility to them. There's all kinds of a need to figure out balance in our lives, that sort of thing. All of us are being affected by that. Regardless of where you are in the personal year cycle, we are all feeling this intense need to be there for our families. And our families include our communities. They include our neighbors as well. So when you look at 2022, we got 3 number 2s, right? So that is one-on-one relationships. So I'm just going to encourage you guys to, if you are in the path of the hurricane or you know somebody who is, reach out. I can't even tell you how grateful I am for all the messages that have come to me this morning. People from all around the world who are messaging me saying, hey, stay safe. But it's a time when we really need to extend a hand to our neighbors. Call your neighbor and say, hey, what can I do? What do you need? You know, do you want to come down and stay with me rather than staying by yourself? Think about the seniors. Think about the people that can't get out for what they need. This is really what 2022 is all about. And I think that if there's something positive that comes from being in 2022 and being under this umbrella, is that it's really causing us to think beyond ourselves and think about the other guys. So I'm encouraging you to do that. No hurricanes and tornadoes or snow in Arizona. Keep the porch light on, Lauren. I'm coming out.
Shasta also.
That's right. The worst I get is dust bowls. So that's okay too. But anyway, Dr. Gail, anything else you want to say or any words of wisdom you want to share?
Well, all I'm thinking about is you, Anne, because I've been through a lot of hurricanes since I was in South Carolina. So I think you're going to be fine, but I am worried about you. It will be scary while you're going through it. But my heart goes out to you.
Well, I appreciate that. We're going to be okay. I've called in the forces. I told my girlfriend, don't bother calling on Archangel Michael tonight because he's going to be busy. Right?
Yes.
Right? Just for the night, he's all mine. We're calling him in, but I'm sure. Anyway, it's all good. We're gonna leave it at that. But I just want to say thank you to everybody for attending today. It was great hanging out with you. I really do hope that you'll consider joining us on October 4th in the Clarity Seekers community. We got lots of good stuff coming up. Actually, this week on the 27th, I should mention, September 27th at 2 p.m. Eastern, we've got Annette Delou is coming back, and Annette is going to be teaching us how to put our affirmations into crystal grids to really turbocharge them.
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm super pumped about that. Yeah. And then that'll be something, the crystal grids are something that we're really going to elaborate on and take to a whole different level in January when Nancy Jean comes and teaches us all about them. So
yes.
Yeah, all kinds of cool stuff coming, guys. All
I'm
right.
excited. Yeah, and thanks everybody for coming, and thanks for inviting me, Anne.
Oh, anytime. It's always my pleasure. You know that. So take care, guys. We'll hope to see you on the 4th of October.
Okay. All right.
Have a great day. Stay safe wherever you are.